Hey Art Nerds, we are going to be talking about the element of space. And when we talk about the element of space, we're actually talking about two different types of space, okay? There is creating the illusion of depth, and then there's also positive and negative space, okay? So two different ways that we kind of see and discuss space. Now, when we are talking about the illusion of depth, we're talking about, imagine a scene, and we have a tree, okay? Okay, this tree is the closest thing to us. And then we have maybe the ground that it's on, and maybe like a hill that's behind it. Maybe there's even a mountain further back, okay? So, if we divide up this scene, we can actually see kind of like three different layers, okay? Based on what is closest to us, the tree, what is kind of in the middle, okay, you got kind of like the ground and that little hill, and then what is far away and kind of in the background, okay? So we have what we call the foreground. That is whatever is in the artwork that's closest to you, the viewer. As you go a little bit further away, we have something called the middle ground. And then as we move further back, we have the background, which is probably the most familiar word for you, okay? But that's sort of like how we layer things. And even in art, we talk about something called atmospheric perspective, whereas, things move further and further away, they sort of change and, go towards the color of what's in, the sky. So like if the sky is white, things get, lighter and lighter as they go further back. So if I was drawing this and I wanted to really emphasize that this tree was the closest thing to me, I would also have all the other things get lighter and lighter, and then this mountain closest to us is going to end up being the thing that's closest to the value that we have in the sky, okay? So we also have something called positive and negative space, and that's a little bit different. For example, if I was to draw, well, let's just grab this pen, okay? If I was to draw this pen right here, if I was going to be drawing its positive space, the positive space is the pen itself, okay? So whatever object it is, that is our positive space. Now, a lot of times in drawings, we end up adding the details, like, we've got the cap and all that kind of stuff. But when we're just focusing on what is the positive space, it is the object itself, okay? Positive equals object or the subject, okay? Now, when we're talking about the negative space, we're actually talking about the area around your object, okay? So if I was to draw the negative space, okay, I am drawing what is, sorry for the poor drawing, I'm drawing a little bit quicker than I want to, but it is this. If we're drawing just the negative space, there is no detail in the object. It is just the area around, but it's also the area in between things. So like if I had a chair, drawing you lots of pictures here, I guess. A very poor looking chair, okay? Maybe one of those with the hole in the back that you see in school sometimes. That right there, negative space. This right here, okay, negative space. This is positive space, the actual object, okay? So that's the big difference between those two different types of space. Now, when we take a look at our exercise, there are a couple things that you need to do. Number one is I want you to be able to identify foreground, middle ground, and background, okay? So each of the different kind of layers in this image are labeled with a 1, 2, or 3. Well, what matches the best? Foreground, middle ground, or background for the tent, the tree line, and then the sky and mountain. What fits the best? Then as you keep moving down here, okay, we will be discussing different ways that you can create the illusion of space or depth, okay? Are these good ways to try to create the illusion of space in an artwork, or are they not? So that's something I want you to identify. And then finally at the bottom, you are going to be drawing this little guy right here. And the first time you're only drawing the positive space, okay? And the second time, you're going to be drawing and filling in that negative space. So I want you to be able to not only identify, but also create that positive and negative space. So that's what I have for you guys. If you have questions, make sure you ask.